oh my God, what goes on that couch is the catalyst to probably the rest of our lives of how it's going to be.
Well, Dolores, I watched this week's episode and I absolutely love it. The softball game is one of my favorite episodes of the season from last year and this year. So tell us all about it and why this is so important to you.
This is so important to me because I love to support Maimonides Hospital. They've been, I don't know, open 7 days a week for over 100 years and never turned anyone away, whether they have insurance or not. So you really need to help them stay open and keep going. And the money that I raised at this softball game that we raised, and everybody who participated, who are always so kind and have such a good time, went to the breast center, which means that if you walk in there and you're sick or you have breast cancer, you can get a mammogram, whether you have insurance or not. Nobody's turned away. So that means the world to me to be able to.
And $200,000, right?
Yeah. So we raised over $200,000 and our calendars raised over $10,000. It all went to charity.
I love it. The calendar is by far one of my favorite things that you guys have done. Is that going to be like an annual thing now?
So maybe we'll do a Housewives calendars next year.
I love that. I love that. I mean, it didn't seem like there was too much drama at the game, which is good. And you guys had a big comeback win, which I thought was great.
Yeah. So we missed Tiki Barber very much this season. And I think our kids pulled us through. Our kids are much more athletic than we are. And it was really fun. And like, kind of, and I want to say you'll see some drama in the locker room, which it always happens, but what happens in the locker room stays in the locker room, because when we hit that field and the crowd is like, everyone's so excited and everybody's such a part of it. And the doctors are there and we do have some people. I think one of the girls who had cancer, one of the young girls, threw the first ball out, which is so sweet. And you didn't get to see that, but it was a beautiful thing. And it's just a great day that if you're human, you're actually going to be in a good mood there, whether you're fighting with someone or not. So, yeah.
Definitely. Who was the MVP of the game?
Who was the MVP? I don't remember. I want to say, I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like everybody like contributed to the big win, which is good.
Yeah, everybody did, I have to say, yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, the drama stayed in the locker room. But what I was surprised about is that Frank got very emotional on the field, talking about your relationship. Was that like wrong place, wrong time? Like, we don't need to talk about that here?
Yes, but I know that Frank can't hold his emotions back because Frank the Tank was like a kid, people would be afraid of him back in the day. And as you know, he's a perfect example as men mellow when they get older. And he's now a big mush. And this is a hard time for him. It's a transition. He doesn't like change. He's taking it personal. Is hurt. Like, I don't want to see him hurt. I'm upset, but then I'm mad. Like, don't make me feel guilty right now. Just go along with this for me. I've always been there for everybody. I'm asking for this time. Just like, let me enjoy somebody who is giving me a lot of attention. Like, Paulie wants to be so much a part of my life and he's so good about it. And I'm enjoying my time here. So please don't take that away from me and make me feel bad. The same thing when I was fighting with Jennifer and I was upset because I really didn't understand where it was coming from. And I was on a plane with my boyfriend going to Ireland to meet his family. And I look up all these things online about things she's saying about me. I'm like, why are you doing this to me? Like, this is a happy time in my life. I've been there for you, right. So I'm just asking for my time, which I've never asked for before. And I mean, it passes, and I understand feelings get in the way of being rational. Sometimes when you're emotional, you're not very rational. And as you see, he is. So, and he's breaking everyone's heart, which makes me look like the villain here.
It doesn't make you look like a villain at all.
Thank you.
Definitely.
I was thinking, like, what are you thinking as someone who's watched? Like, what do you think? And I value your opinion so much because you're
right. No, I thank you. And I think that you deserve all the happiness that you are entitled to. I mean, you and Paul make a great couple, and it seems like, he's having a hard time realizing that this is not the relationship that you guys are going to have anymore, but you deserve your happiness too.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be like, we'll always be there for each other. And like I said, the kids aren't like little anymore, you know, and there isn't the call for that to be so much intertwined. But listen, there's a happy medium for everything, and there's compromises in relationships, and you know, we're just not used to it.
Right.
In 25 years, we've never had to do this. You know, it didn't call for it. And I love Brittany. Brittany's amazing, and he's in a serious relationship with her, and I'm very happy for them.
Definitely. I mean, obviously the softball game was filmed months ago, and there's, you know, months since then. Have things gotten easier? Have things, you know, have you found where everybody kind of fits in this new normal? Yeah.
So you'll see. You know, I knew it would come to this. It wasn't easy. Like I said, any transition and change in something that you're so used to in your life. Like this was the way it was for so long. And you'll see that I say, like, Frank didn't have a lot of change after I didn't want it. I didn't want it. I wanted us to stay together as one family unit and things like that. And I still want that. But right now, I'm just not as available to everybody as I have been. He's not the only one going through transitions. You know, I've been available to a lot of people in life. So
it's your time, Dolores. It's
my time.
Definitely. And how's Paul doing? I mean, we see him going through surgery this episode, or is about to get ready for surgery. How did everything go, and how is he feeling? He's
100% better. His doctors were amazing. The problem was fixed. He had to go to an electrophysiologist, and he's really doing so much better. He hasn't had the problem since. And I suggest anybody who gets that feeling, like we ignore it sometimes, where your heart starts to race and it starts to beat, go see a doctor because there is an underlying problem. He was misdiagnosed for years. He had something called SBT. So he's better now. He's 100% better now. He never told me he was afraid to play golf. He stopped playing golf because of this feeling. He was afraid he was going to have a heart attack, but he just was afraid to address it also. So if somebody in your life is doing that, like I pushed him to go to the right doctors. And if somebody in your life feels these things, you need to push them to go.
Yeah, it's scary. I'm glad that he is doing better. And it seems like you guys are in such a great place in your relationship. Is this the most fun that you've had in your life in a very long time in a relationship?
Yeah. So I have had, it's sharing it with someone. So I'm good with myself. Like I was good with alone. I was in relationships where people were not so close to me and busy and involved in my life. And I was okay with that because my kids were young and they needed me first anyway. So for me to be in a relationship that took me from them, I wasn't really interested in that. It's just the timing is right in my life to meet someone who wanted to be a part of my life so much. So I enjoy it. Yeah. It was a little bit getting used to, because I'm not used to not having my own space. So that was the whole thing. But you can't have your own space and then have somebody that's there for you all the time either. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Very true. Are you guys living together now, or is it still separate? Yes. How's that been?
Yeah, no, it's good. We don't get in each other's way. We like spending time with each other. So
good. Do you want to get married again in the future, or do you not care about the labels on?
I don't care about the labels, and so many people have pushed that on me in the past. Oh, what about engagement? Or and I was be like, girls, I've had it all. Yeah. And I don't, you know, again, I know what it's like to be independent. So I'm not looking for that label. If it's there and if it comes to that, great. But that's not my goal. My goal is to be happy, peaceful, and to just have the people that I love always be able to be together. That is a goal for me.
Yeah. I'm so excited about this cast trip that you all are taking to Ireland. It is going to be epic. What can you guys tell me about it?
Because I was a part of it, but I really think that people are going to enjoy it. I think it's a nice break from what's been going on this season. And I felt like, I don't know why, but Irish people are fun and they're like to have a good time. They're all about having a good time, right? They like to drink. They're happy-go-lucky, you know, cliche, but yeah, that was my experience with Ireland and Irish people when I went there. Like you could be walking past their house. Paul's mom lives in a remote place called Tinnahaley. in Wicklow County. And there's like farms and it's untouched by time. And you could be walking past someone's house and you're like, oh, I like your flag. And they're like, come in for tea.
I love that.
And I, I needed that. And I think the girls needed that too. And, Ireland welcomed us with such open arms. I'm telling you, when you see how much fun we had, and it's going to be girls trip. It's going to be the next girls trip. I'm telling you.
I love that so much.
Bachelorette party central.
Would we see you on
a 100-year-old bar, like beating the locals?
I love it. I love it. Would we see you on Ultimate Girls Trip ever? You would be so good on it.
I would die to be on Ultimate Girls Trip because I want to be in a place where maybe like I don't have to worry about somebody across from me being my really good friend to like show you who I really am. Like if somebody's fighting, if I'm on Ultimate Girls Trip and my girlfriend's fighting with someone who I'm really not friends with, you're going to see a different side. You're going to see Patterson Dolo on crack. Like this is, call me. I'm here for it.
I love it. The drama has been pretty intense this season thus far. Where are you and Jennifer right now? We see the big fight in the first episode. Things kind of mellow out a little bit because she picks back up with Margaret. But where do you and Jennifer stand right now?
You'll see me and Jennifer decide to really sit down and talk about this. I don't think what happened between us can ever be resolved because I don't really see it the way she saw it. And I can't even bring myself to see what she's talking about and why she was upset, because she says in a past interview recently, I think that she said that I acted like I didn't care about but I reached out to her several times. And then by the time we did see each other, I was mad, so Jennifer and I do sit down and we come to an agreement on what our friendship will be like, and it's fine to move on from there. We cohabitate in friend groups. Jennifer and I have friends outside of what you see. We have also peripheral friends in a different friend group. And I don't want that to be awkward for people. And I don't want it to be awkward for me. I care a lot about the people in my life. So, yeah. And Jennifer did call and apologize for the things she said to me on the first episode, because to be honest, I didn't know she said those things until I watched it.
As somebody that has dealt with infidelity in marriage and things like that, how has it been like watching her? In this episode, we see her and Bill go to therapy. She says that she feels like she's an employee in her marriage. I mean, is that tough to watch? And is it hard to watch your friend kind of go through, reliving this whole cheating scandal all over again?
Well, I felt like I could have been more of a talk to her more about it since I've gone through it, and because I see her marriage as something like I think Bill's a great guy. Yeah. So sometimes marriages go through hard times, and I want to be able to tell her I understand where you're coming from, but I also I don't think you have a throwaway marriage here. Like this is something that you guys could work out.
Right. No, definitely. And then, her and Margaret, this fight between the two of them was something insane. I
went home and took a nap after that.
I would too. I mean, it was like disheveled drug addict. I mean, this episode she calls Margaret an albino with a wig on. Like
there were things said to each other that you didn't even see. What you saw was only what you could see. Could you imagine what was said that they had to cut out?
I could not even.
No, you can't.
Do you feel like Margaret is being iced out this season? Like it seems, because I mean, I think one of the women say that it feels like Jennifer and Teresa are kind of trying to ice Margaret out.
I don't think that can work. I think there's a lot of resentment there. I think Jennifer's still angry about what happened with the whole affair, bringing up the affair and stuff. Teresa's mad about, her questioning Louis. I think that them two together are still angry, and they're very close friends. Like anytime someone tries to come in and say, oh, she's not your friend or she's not your friend, they stick together over there. So that's not happening as you say.
Do you feel like Teresa has changed at all, being, we see her go into therapy this season as well. Do you feel like she has made the changes that she's wanted to?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that Louis's been a very good positive influence in her life. Because again, like myself, she was alone for a long time, and she didn't have somebody to stand there and say, now look at this side, or you did this. Sometimes you don't realize, like Paul brought my attention to something. I used to look at people like, I didn't realize I was looking at them in a certain way. And he's like, Dolores, stop looking. You have to be aware that, you know, I wear my heart on my sleeve. Like sometimes I'll look at somebody and I'm giving them a dirty look and I don't even realize I'm doing it. So I think that Louis being in her life is like, listen, let's talk about this. I see her side of it. I see your side of it and things like that. So yeah, I do think that Teresa is going through a change and a transition.
Yeah, definitely. What did you think? Were you disappointed that Joe Gorga didn't attend the Love Bubble party? You know, didn't really respond when Teresa reached out to kind of make peace. Do you think that was like a missed opportunity?
I'm always disappointed when there's a chance for people to move forward and it doesn't happen. But there's also when things are very heated, I don't think people should be together. I think things sometimes need to calm down first before they're in each other's company.
Melissa said recently in an interview that she wants to be in the same room as Teresa. Teresa said that she's done with this relationship. Do you think that there can be some sort of resolution? And why do you think Melissa's kind of changing her tune a little bit?
Well, nobody wants to go on having a gripe or a problem with someone. Like when I was arguing with Jennifer, I didn't like it. It was something that bothered me. I wasn't okay with that. So I'm sure that nobody wants to go on with having bad feelings with someone and like this unresolved hatred or whatever you want to call it. It takes two. If Teresa's done, then it's going to be done. I don't know what's in store for them in the future. I'm sure time heals. I don't know what they can ever be again. You know what I mean? Maybe they can be people that are in the same room together, but not as brother and sister.
Interesting. What was your reaction to the Joe Gorga, Joe Giudice reunion?
Oh, I would expect nothing less. Because they have been two people that have been in each other's lives for so long. And they're also, whether it was good or bad, it wasn't always bad. And at one time they were very close. And I'm sure it was nice for Joe Giudice to see something of what his family was like at one time that he holds on to. He's been deported. He can never step foot on this, the United States soil again. That's that's a hard thing to live with, and to see somebody that was once a part of that part of your life. I don't think you're thinking of horrible things. You're thinking of good things.
Yeah. No.
Joe Giudice was a funny guy, by the way. He loved having people over. He loved entertaining. I enjoyed him, and I do miss him.
Yeah, no, it was nice to see. And then, another big reunion, Jacqueline and Teresa. Did you ever see that one coming?
I didn't, but that's a part of Teresa looking at things differently, reflecting on things. And, I did talk to Teresa about it, and she said she did it for one reason, because she thought of her Nicholas. Teresa's stepson is Nicholas, and of course Jacqueline's son is Nicholas, and they both have autism. So she thought about things that now she sees what Teresa sees what Jacqueline goes through, and she wanted to call her and just like tell her she was thinking about her and that she relates to her in that way now.
Do you ever see Jacqueline and maybe Caroline ever coming back?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing either one of them. They're part of my life too.
Right, definitely. A lot of people are loving the new housewives this season, and it seems like maybe Danielle seems to get into the mix with some drama in the upcoming episodes about her relationship with her family. What did you make of that, and what are your thoughts on how they're kind of fitting into this group?
I think they're great. They're a great addition. Jen Fessler's hysterical. Rachel reminds me of my cousin, who was my best friend in high school. And, she reminds me of a girl like I would have been friends with. And then of course, Danielle's she fits in. They all fit in their own way.
Yes. No, they're great. They are great. And then, I know we have a few more weeks to go before the big finale, but I know the finale goes down at Paul's house. So what can you kind of tease about this?
Okay, I'll show you. So you see this couch right here? Yes. Epic. Like, Oh my God, what goes on that couch is the catalyst to probably the rest of our lives of how it's going to be. About here, there'll be almost a fist fight. She's very close to having a fist fight. Yeah. The couch behind me. Oh no, the corner right there is, you'll see something go down with Margaret and Jennifer that it actually looks venomous.
Oof. Do you feel like
after happening at one time?
Oh my God. Do you think like this finale is going to change?
And Paul was drunk.
Do you feel like this finale is going to change the course of relationships going forward? Yes. Yeah. And that some maybe point of no return.
Watching the finale again is going to be a gauge on what you're going to see at the reunion. Mm-hmm. And it's gonna bring up a lot of emotions, a lot of anger, a lot of things that I wish never happened here.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely.
I woke up the next day and he's like, I think we need to sage this house.
Seriously, sage the room. And then Dolores, I don't know if you've been keeping up with this, but it seems like this story has taken over Bravo and taken over, the world, the scandal of it all. What was your reaction to that? And, how do these people deal with this fallout?
Well, when cheating happens all the time, but when a best friend is involved, now it's a whole nother thing. And that's not easy to come back from. So, I mean, I feel like I don't know how Tom and Raquel are handling the whole world being against them. Mm-hmm. Like we're almost dehumanizing them. And it is human nature what they did. I mean, let's face it. It is part of it's not good human nature. It's not good human behavior, but it happens. So I think we have to remember they are human and they don't need to be forgiven or liked, but the hate is really at a different level right now.
Yeah, I've never really seen anything like it.
I've never seen anything like it. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like, it's like I picture like a crowd with like sticks and stones and you're chasing these people. Like I said, I'm not condoning them. I don't like what they did. I don't like the character of what it is, but we do have to be civilized here.
Well, Dolores, thank you so much. It is always a pleasure catching up, and I can't wait for everybody to watch this week with this episode. You do such great work. It really is. It's so special to watch.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good seeing you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. For more news content and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.